Queen's Gambit declined, Harrwitz, main line, 8.Qc2 Nc6 9.A3 Qa5 10.Rd1. Intense. That was a serious game. That game was pretty competitive. White took advantage of the opportunities they saw in the opening. That was a well-fought middle game that White got the better of. The players battled pretty evenly in the end game. Opening with the Queen's pawn. The Indian game begins by controlling the important e4 square with the knight, rather than a pawn. By taking control of the crucial d5 square and creating a space on which the knight can move to c3 without obstructing the c-pawn, move c4 helps to create a strong center. The move e6 creates a line for the dark squared bishop, sets up a rapid castle, and prepares to push a pawn to d5 and recover the piece if it is taken. Nf3 develops toward the center, putting pressure on the e5 square and adding another defender to the d4 pawn. As it occupies space in the center, attacks the c4 pawn, and aids in maintaining control of the e4 square. This develops a knight from its starting square, activating it. b7 develops the bishop, supports the knight on f6 and prepares castling. bf4 develops the bishop toward the center and controls the e5 square. Castling gets the king out of the center and activates the rook. e3 allows the light-squared bishop to develop and supports the d4 pawn. c5 attacks the pawn on d4, prepares to develop the knight behind the pawn and opens the diagonal for the queen to develop. dxc5 captures the pawn and frees the d4 square for White's pieces. bxc5 wins back a pawn and develops the bishop. By doing this, a queen moves off of its beginning square and into the action. By doing this, a knight moves out of its beginning square and into the action. This activates a rook by developing it off of its starting square. This pins a knight to the king. Game's master. It is the final book action. This suggests kicking a bishop. That's good. This makes it impossible for the adversary to kick a bishop. It is ideal. The game was almost evenly matched, but black is now worse. It is incorrect. This move puts the bishop on a safer square. This is the only good move. It is a great move. Perfectly on point. It is ideal. This wins a pawn. This threatens to win a bishop. It is best. This wins a tempo on a queen while developing a piece. It is ideal. This is the way to win a pawn. This is the only move that works. It is a great move. This exchange is fair. It is ideal. Backs off. This poses a knight-winning threat. It is ideal. Very precise. It is best. This is a missed chance to seize a weak knight. It falls flat. Recaptures. It is ideal. The queen is now on a square that is more secure. It is ideal. This attacks a bishop, winning a tempo when it moves away. This is the only good move. It is a great move. This reveals an attack that poses a threat to a queen. It is ideal. The queen is therefore moved to safety. It is ideal. Now that the rooks can see one another, they can defend one another. It is ideal. Among the best actions. It is quite good. This protects a knight who was being attacked and lacked defense. It is ideal. After all captures, this is an equal trade. This is the only move that works. It is best. Backs off. It is ideal. This moves the bishop to safety. This threatens to win a knight. It is best. That was a great move and very hard to find. This prevents the opponent from being able to win a knight. It is brilliant. There was only one good move in that position. This misses an opportunity to capture a bishop that was threatening to win material. It is a mistake. That pawn was available for free. It is ideal. What I would have advised is that. It is ideal. This maintains the balance in material with a good trade. This is the only move that works. It is a great move. Recaptures. It is ideal. The knight is thus brought to safety. That's good. This confines the opponent's king while also moving a rook to the 7th rank, activating it. It is ideal. This defends the attacked pawn. It is best. It's alright. That's good. That's a decent move. That's good. While not a mistake, that is also not the wisest course of action. That's good. The pawn is now in a safe position. That's good. It's alright. That's good. This allows the knight to control more squares. This is the only good move. It is a great move. This exchange is fair. It is ideal. Backs off. It is ideal. This shifts the bishop to a square with more activity, giving it greater scope. That's good. The pawn is now on a square that is safer. It is quite good. The best choice is this one. It is ideal. Perfectly on point. It is ideal. Very precise. It is best. A powerful play. It is quite good. Black's situation was worse, but now they are losing. It is incorrect. That's a decent move. That's good. There were worse maneuvers, but there were also much better ones. It is incorrect. This is not the best approach. It is incorrect. While not a mistake, that is also not the wisest course of action. That's good. This buys time by putting a rook in danger and getting it to flee. It is quite good. The rook is now in a safe position. It is ideal. It's alright. That's good. This overlooks an opportunity to pin a knight. It is an inaccuracy. Not the finest, this. It is incorrect. What I would have advised is that. It is ideal. This provides an equal exchange of parts. It is ideal. The rook is now in a safe position. It is quite good. The best choice is this one. It is ideal. That is a logical response. It is quite good. This suggests exchanging items of equivalent value. It is ideal. The rook is now on a square that is more secure. It is ideal. White is ahead at this point in the endgame. That's good. There were worse maneuvers, but there were also much better ones. It is incorrect. This is not the best approach. It is incorrect. Not the finest, this. It is incorrect. Now that white has lost their winning advantage, the score is about even. It is incorrect. This threatens to win a pawn. This is the only move that works. This took advantage of a bad move and black is no longer in a losing position. It is a great move. This moves the checking rook farther away. That's good. A pawn that was being attacked and had no defenses is now protected by this. It is ideal. This provides an equal exchange of parts. It is quite good. This eliminates a rook that was in danger of gaining material. It is ideal. Recaptures. It is ideal. This poses a risk of winning a pawn. It is ideal. This can indicate that a pawn is being attacked. It is ideal. This makes winning a pawn a possibility. It is ideal. This moves the checking rook farther away. It is ideal. It is a fair deal after all captures. It is ideal. This turns the pawn into a passed pawn, which means no other pawn may oppose it as it advances. It is ideal. This enables the adversary to make a pawn attack known. It is incorrect. This reveals an attack on a pawn. This is the only good move. This threatens to fork pieces. It is a great move. A wise decision. It is quite good. This shields the knight who was attacked. That's good. This threatens to kick a knight. This stops the opponent from being able to create an X-ray attack through two pieces. It is excellent. That pawn was available for free. It is ideal. The bishop is now in a secure position. It is quite good. A passing pawn could be promoted as a result of this. It is ideal. There was only one move that was effective, and this wasn't it? It is incorrect. It was a free pawn there. It is ideal. Among the best actions. It is quite good. A passing pawn could be promoted as a result of this. It is incorrect. This suggests using a rook to block a pawn that has been passed. It is ideal. This threatens to promote a pawn to a queen. This allows the opponent to use a rook to counter a passed pawn. It is an inaccuracy. An opponent's passed pawn can't advance if a rook is positioned behind it. It is ideal. This misses a chance to raise the possibility of winning a bishop. It is incorrect. A powerful play. It is quite good. That's a decent move. That's good. Although the score was nearly equal, white now has the upper hand. It is incorrect. This overlooks a more effective approach to sidestep the enemy rook's check. It is incorrect. This suggests using a rook to block a pawn that has been passed. It is incorrect. This threatens to win a bishop. There was only one good move there. This misses an opportunity to threaten winning a pawn. It is a mistake. Placing a rook behind an opponent's passed pawn can inhibit the pawn's ability to promote. This stops the opponent from being able to win a bishop. It is good. Perfectly on point. It is ideal. That is a logical response. It is quite good. This is the only move that works. It is a great move. This misses a chance to relocate a bishop to safety. It is incorrect. This keeps the material balance in check with good commerce. It is ideal. Very precise. It is best. This moves the checking rook farther away. It is ideal. The rook is now on a square that is more secure. It is quite good. This defends the attacked pawn. It is excellent. Intense. That was a serious game. That game was pretty competitive. White took advantage of the opportunities they saw in the opening. That was a well-fought middle game that White got the better of. The players battled pretty evenly in the endgame.